This is my ISLLC Standard Performances by Mark Campos, Education Administration for Dr. Whelan. Thank you for allowing me to do this for you today. I'm going to start off with Standard 1, the Visionary Leadership. For this one, I chose P1-7, the school community is involved in school improvement efforts. With this, the example that I chose here in Scott City is a couple years ago we decided to build a new field house for our football program, football team out there by the football field. And this was a real good community effort that was given behind this. A lot of people in the community donated to the building, the construction of this, and as a result, they got to have a personalized brick laid out there that that indicated who they were, family of such and such player from such and such year. So it was a good way for the community that kind of came together to make this improvement on an old field house that was out there at the football field, especially since now, in past recent couple years, our football program has been one of the premier programs in our class the past couple of years. State championship 2 years ago. So having this new field house out there really kind of solidifies that our community definitely supports the success that our football program has been having. The second performance of Standard 1, I chose 1.10. The assessment data related to student learning are used to develop the school vision and goals. The example that I used this one back in my GED days at the Garden City Community College, the process we used for new students that came in, every orientation we kind of talk about the program, and then we would give them pre-tests for reading and math, and we used those test scores to kind of provide an individual goal plan for each student. We would use the math scores to kind of break them up into different groups, like a beginning group, intermediate group, and advanced group. But every once in a while, we'd have students that have their test scores for both the reading and the math would be so good that we would fast track them through the system. So their goals that were set up specifically for them were based on their high test scores to kind of get them through the GED program, relatively quickly and not have to, go the entire 6 to 8 week program. Those are the students that we would get in, kind of give them some fast track coaching through the GED and get them pass through the GED test within relatively a week or so. So these GED pretest scores, like I said, we use those to kind of plan to develop the goals for each student. So that was an example that I picked for that one. Standard 2, the instructional leadership, I chose 2.2 for that one, which was professional development promotes a focus on school learning consistent with the school vision and goals. For this, I chose, I recall like an in-service that we had at a school district that I was at that particular time. A beginning of the year school district in-service. And what it was we focused on new strategies to incorporate more reading skills in our everyday lessons. The big focus of our school that year was to have better reading scores because, in the past state assessments, our reading scores weren't that good. So we wanted to figure out ways to incorporate more reading skills through all of our classes that we're teaching, not just English classes, but, history classes, math classes, basically all the classes that the students would have, just trying to incorporate more reading skills. That way they could do better on state assessment reading tests. The second performance indicator, I chose 2.9. Technologies are used in teaching and learning. For this, I chose the iPad implementation that I was a part of at the GED program at Garden City Community College and also at Scott City High School that we're getting ready to do. technology is everywhere, and we were doing our students, our GED students, an injustice by not incorporating that with their course of study for the GED program. So we kind of got together and said, hey, this technology is not going to go away. These people that have never used, iPads, smartphones, that type of thing, they're going to have to learn it. So, implementing this technology is to kind of get them familiar with it. Only helps the students for that. And I guess the same can be said at the high school level here now. We're getting ready to introduce a one-to-one policy with our iPads for each student. So this is a way to kind of get technology out there in the hands of the students that are going to be using it in the future. Standard 3, organizational leadership, I chose Performance Indicator 3.13. Stakeholders are involved in decisions affecting schools. This one, I use the example of the site council meetings that our building principals conduct. At these site council meetings, it's parents, teachers, and some students that come in, or students at the high school level, not elementary students. They don't need to be there. But these meetings are a great way to get feedback from the community on things that are going on in the schools. Our high school principal really definitely does a great job with this, because she takes this feedback from parents and she really takes it to heart and uses it to, better the school. There were some at the high school council meeting that I went to. There was some discussion about proms, and the cost versus the attendance of it. The cost for prom is always going up, yet the attendance of the students that attend relatively stays the same in terms of not very many people attend. So, the principal kind of threw that out there, say, hey, the cost for prom is always going up. What do you think about this? And some parents thought, or come back and say, well, this has been a tradition here in Scott City for so long, and I think it should stay a junior senior prom. And also it was a good feedback from one of the students, a senior student that was there at that meeting too. She said the maturity level between freshman, sophomore, junior, senior is, it's a huge gap. There's a huge maturity gap. So this particular student was kind of relieved that they could enjoy a social gathering at the school and not have to worry about all the freshman, sophomore drama that comes along with being that young and immature. So good way to get feedback from the community about things going on. The other one I chose was 3.23, confidentiality and privacy of school records are maintained. For this, I use the example of when I was an ESL coordinator at Scott City. Every year, every spring, we'd give the CALPA test, and this was kind of like, I guess, quote, state assessments for non-English speaking students to kind of test their proficiency level in reading, writing, listening, and speaking of English that we would give. And these are all paper pencil tests. We didn't do it on the computer. So the test booklets, the students would, they would write a story to practice or to show their writing ability in English. We also had a test rubric for listening as well on that test booklet. And we kept these test booklets. So we had to keep these test booklets in a secure location. And then once the tests were graded and we got our scores, we were instructed by the state to, shred these test booklets. So that was a way to kind of protect the privacy of students with these test booklets, of having to shred these tests after they were scored. Standard 4, collaborative leadership. I chose 4.4. There's an outreach to different business, religious, political, and service agenda agencies and organizations. For this, I chose our Booster Club and corporate sponsors. Our Booster Club here does a great job of seeking outside financial support for activities for the school, and they have something that's called corporate sponsors. So different communities, they donate a different amount of money to the Booster Club. The highest amount is the corporate sponsorship. And my Nicole and I decided this past year that we would become a corporate sponsor. So we donated, some money to the highest amount we could to the school for their activities, and it's kind of a prestigious thing here in Scott City. Because we get our name in all the programs, we get our name on a banner at the gym. So the Booster Club here does a really good job of working with businesses to kind of help support financially the activities here. The other example I used was 412. Effective media relations are developed and maintained. With this, Scott City has a great relationship with our local radio station in town. They broadcast all of our sporting events, no matter what it is: football, basketball, volleyball, track, baseball, softball. They do updates for wrestling, do updates for tennis, golf. You name it, the activity. They're there, getting the word out of how we're doing. And a new thing is our ability to view our sporting events online. We have a new media communications class at the high school, and they broadcast live all of our sporting events through the internet. So it's a great way for us, to have this, or it's really good for us to have this working relationship with the media outlets here to further advance the successes of our students. Standard 5, ethical leadership. I chose performance 5.4, serves as a role model. My time as a ESL coordinator here at Scott City, I served as a role model for many of the young Hispanic students in the school. Me being Hispanic myself, I was able to talk to them and say, hey, school wasn't easy for me also. I had to work my butt off. My parents had to work their butts off to get where I'm at. And I'm here to tell you that if you do the same thing, you can do it. I was able to relate to some of these students based on my past experience. So it's kind of the rapport that you have with these young minority students that really helped me a lot and helped them a lot, because they were, not only were they able to trust me, but they were able to see that, if I do work hard and I do, do these things, that I too can have success. So it was kind of good for me to kind of be a role model to these young Hispanic students, especially at the middle school level, because that's that age where they could either put their head in the books and get after it, or they can just basically fall off and drop out by the time they get to high school. So that's really important that I was part of that. The other one is 5.8. That one was treats people fairly, equitably, and with dignity and respect. Through my time coaching different sports, it's taught me the importance of treating others fair and with respect. It can be very easy to play your favorites, and kind of disregard, the ones that work hard and that may not be, out there, the most popular, the most gifted, whatever. But, treating people fairly, treating people with equal respect is important, in that, and the community sees that. People that you think may not be watching you are watching you that way. They can see those things. So that's important, to be fair and ethical in a coaching standpoint. Last standard, the political leadership I chose 6.2. Communications occurs among school community concerning trends, issues, and potential changes in the environment which the school operates. For this one, I was a part of the departmental meetings with administration to discuss the direction of the administration wanted things to go. This was at a larger school district teaching at Garden City. We would have these apartment meetings with administration, and we would kind of help them, dictate where we wanted to go with things and how we wanted to see things move. So it's good to have that at a larger school level. Smaller school level probably won't work as much. The last one, 6.4, school community works within the framework of policies, laws, and regulations to enhance by local, state, and federal authorities. This one, I talked about the changes in food service regulations, which led to what schools can serve for breakfast and lunch. There was a federal drive to battle child obesity, and they thought, by regulating what students eat at school would help with that. So that's what led to a lot of the changes in the school lunch menus and all the guidelines and regulations that they had to follow. So I'm running out of time, but thank you very much.